Perfect. I've got the draw here. Another award-winning draw, I'm sure, just like at Wimbledon. But first, before we look at the draw, this is primarily a draw show. We've got to talk about one of the best tennis matches I've ever seen in my entire life. There's no better place to start than where we would see most next-gen players crumble. Match points down, serving 3-5 to stay alive in the third set in Cincinnati. Carlitos Alcaraz breaks out the serve and volley. Floats it along. And now, le pièce de résistance. Deep slice from the Joker. I love this part. He's stepping into crushes, right? This is pretty well executed, but Joker's there.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's good indeed.
What a way to save another.
I mean, you don't see stuff like that all the time, right? Me and tennis coaching genius and guru Peter Crunch Time Coaching Freeman were driving back from Cincinnati from doing our Masters tennis clinic at the club at Harper's Point. And we were watching this match, and afterwards we were talking about what is a better best of three-set match that you've seen. And the first one that popped in my head, of course, is that 2017 Miami match with Kyrgios and Federer. And I said, hey, that match is a similar scoreline. In fact, that was 3 tiebreakers. And is it better than that match? And Pete said, well, what was Kyrgios ranked at the time? I was like, okay, good point. 1 versus 2, that kind of takes it to another level, the top 2 players in the world. But let's roll that back in slow motion, because I think this shot is right here. The whole crowd kind of gasps, throws up that kind of lobby ball on the baseline, and then Djokovic fluffs this thing in, and you think Alcaraz is going to crush it, so Djokovic is hanging back by the wall. Yeah, it's not a great drop shot, but the disguise was pretty good. And then I love this with the squeaking sneakers. 3 times in a row. I mean, that is right up there with points like when Roger Federer saved match point 2008 Wimbledon, hit that backhand down the line, and some guy was so excited he jumps up and the camera catches him getting in front of the camera. I'll never forget that part of the highlight. Anyways, this is right up there with the greatest shots we've seen in the history of our sport. Take a listen to Novak Djokovic talking about it.
The match point at 5-3 was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
It was a kind of a showcase of, what this whole match was about. That match point save from him.
He's saying it better than I ever could.
And just one of the most exciting and toughest mentally, emotionally, physically matches that I've ever had in my career.
Now, he talks about it even more later in that interview with the big trophy on the table. Djokovic is asked at some point, does anything Alcaraz do, surprise you? How mentally tough he is, the maturity in these big moments. And I think it's during that answer, a very long answer, but Djokovic, this was an interesting press conference from Djokovic. It's one of the best matches we've ever seen. Interesting that Djokovic said that this match felt as big as winning a Grand Slam. And I guess since we have this new rivalry, Djokovic pulls even with this win. 2 wins for Joker, 2 wins for Alcaraz. Let's just point this out really quick. 16-year age gap. This is the rivalry in the sport right now, right? They're talking up Sinner and Alcaraz, but Sinner hasn't, won any majors yet. So that cheapens the rivalry a little bit. That doesn't make it as big time as the rivalries that we're used to seeing in men's tennis with the last 20 years with the big 3. Anyways, during that answer, I think Djokovic at some point gets back to that one point, that match point, talking about just how amazing it is. So let's listen to Djokovic talk about it a little bit more.
Tactically play the correct point. It's just, especially against him, knowing that he's going to run down every single shot. I mean, that match point save from him was, I ran him around, 2-3 different corners, and, from deep backhand corner, I played I think, solid forehand drop shot. He was there in no time and made a passing shot in the corner. It's just amazing, amazing to be able to experience that with him on the court. I think
it was amazing
all
for
of
us
the matches
to
that we
experience
played against
in the
each other
car driving.
Went distance.
It was amazing.
First match in Madrid last year, 7-6 in the third, 6 in the third today. both Grand Slam matches, 4 or 5
This is as good as a rivalry can get.
It just keeps getting better, I guess, for the fans, for us. I don't know if if we are enjoying it so much, but it's definitely a challenge that we both need to embrace and accept.
And
because
it's what we have to do in order to win the biggest titles in our sport, he goes on to say. And those weren't the only match points. I mean, there was more. This match had it all. I saw that match point in the car. Pete was doing play-by-play in the passenger seat while I was driving. And then we pulled over at Taco Bell, not just because I love crunchy taco supremes from Taco Bell, but also because we had to see the rest of this match. We had to get out of the car and just watch the match in the phone at a Taco Bell. Here's this was a great point setting up a match point. You would expect, I fully expected Djokovic to close him out right there at 5-3. Alcaraz is able to save match points. And then, of course, I thought he was going to do it right here. Let's look at this. This point, deuce 5-4 sets up match point. Their guys were everywhere. They're hitting the ball so hard. They're playing a multifaceted game. That
is absolutely brilliant. Djokovic at his best.
Djokovic throwing his arms up.
Time.
And I remember Pete said, "How dare he? How dare Djokovic get excited after setting up a match point in a big tournament in a final against the number one player in the world? How dare he? He's so obnoxious, right?" He's being sarcastic, obviously. I hope people appreciate Djokovic after this match. Will it ever be enough? Will it ever be enough to make the haters like Novak Djokovic? Of course not. All right, let's move on to, and then here's the match point. Not a crazy point here like that one, but you'll see. I'll go to what Djokovic says about Alcaraz later in the presser, and I think this point perfectly illustrates what Djokovic was talking about. Match point number 3, I believe. You can hear all the effort going into this ball striking.
Quite incredible.
This is getting silly now.
It's getting silly. It is. I mean, that was such a good match, folks. Come on. Even if you hate Djokovic, comment below. Did you enjoy the match, even though you hate Djokovic, even though he won it? Come on. Listen to Djokovic talking about this. I love the way he describes Alcaraz. I think this is the beginning of that clip. Yeah. We're saying, is Djokovic, does Carlos Alcaraz, does his maturity level surprise you in these big moments?
It doesn't surprise me anymore. I mean, it was surprising me maybe, I don't know, end of last year or beginning of this year. I mean, what he was doing, the way he won big matches, big tournaments, so impressive. I mean, coming out in important moments, going for it, brave.
Very brave.
Just have to,
just like in that last point,
hats down to a guy like that. We're
gonna pull our hats down. That's
so maturely, and
one rare time where Djokovic's English sounds a little weird.
The pressure so well for a 20-year-old. We cannot forget how young he is.
We can't forget that he's 20 years old, and we can't forget that Djokovic is 36, going on 37. I think he actually just turned 36 fairly recently. I think, is it right? Right? Yeah. He's about a year behind me. I was recently 37, so he's recently turned 36. This is almost a 20-year age gap. And I felt bad that Djokovic lost Wimbledon. I really wanted him to win. I always like to be right. My draw had him winning. I wanted to be right. That was probably my number one reason why I didn't like Djokovic losing. But reflecting on it now, these weeks, months later, whatever it's been, it's good for the sport. It's really good for the sport that you get Alcaraz beating Djokovic when Djokovic is playing at such a high level, doing it at Wimbledon, the place where we would least expect that kind of a breakthrough to come through. Doing it in a 5-set match, it puts, it's like, the big three, they kind of all rub off on each other, and the legend of the big three spreads to other players that can step up to them. That's why people, when I was in Cincinnati, it was amazing how much people were excited to see Stan Wawrinka. There's so much excitement at the Stan Wawrinka matches, and it's because of, he was able to beat those big three players on the biggest stages, obviously beating Nadal, never beat Federer at a major, but he beat Djokovic at some majors, and he beat Nadal at the Australian Open that one year, even though Nadal was injured, of course. But, it rubs off, and now, like, that legend of the big three has spread to Carlos Alcaraz. It's not like Djokovic lost Wimbledon because he's old and washed up and not good anymore. I mean, you could argue Djokovic is the best he's ever been. And this U.S. Open, we never saw Nadal and Federer meet at the U.S. Open. But if we see Alcaraz and Djokovic play in this final and it's anything like that 3 sets we saw in Cincinnati, I'll take that. I'll be happy with that, right? We can take that as our consolation prize for never seeing the great rivals Roger and Rafa play at the U.S. Open. Let's play another part of that clip talking about, it was amazing. He's asked about how mature do you think, are you surprised that Alcaraz is so mature and so mentally tough in these big stages? And then Djokovic went a really long time talking about just how impressed he is and how privileged he feels, how lucky he feels to be a part of this new rivalry, which is really, I can't say it enough, an incredible thing. A 20-year gap. People used to talk about how, it's not really fair, that Nadal has to play, or Federer has to play Nadal, or Federer has to play Djokovic. 6-year age difference there. They're from different eras. Well, how about 20 years? Try that on. And I mean, how amazing. It makes them both look amazing, right? The fact that Djokovic is maybe the best he's ever been. Alcaraz can beat him. And, the fact that he's good enough to play a guy from the big three like that. And then the fact that Djokovic can still come up with wins over this guy with this age gap.
It kind of reminds me, the feeling that I have on the court reminds me a little bit of when I
was
facing Nadal.
I think I kind of got goosebumps when I first heard this clip.
At our prime of our careers, and each point is a hustle. Each point is a battle. You feel like you're not going to get maybe 5 free points in the entire match. You got to basically earn every single point, every single shot, regardless of the conditions. Obviously, if you play on slower conditions, slower courts, even more so.
Big time.
And here, the ball bounces quite high and it's pretty quick. But nevertheless, we both found a way to play a 4-hour match for 3 sets. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest. I do wish that sometimes I can play maybe in some moments slightly more aggressive, and
that's when you got into the tactical stuff, and then broke down that point where he hit a great forehand drop, cross court volley, thought it would be good enough, and somehow Alcaraz is there in a flash, and he's hitting a sliding passing shot up the line. Amazing. Anyways, I thought that was great. Just comparing it to the prime. I guess I should mention, when I say Djokovic is the best he's ever been, maybe he's not, like he's saying, in the prime. It reminds him in his prime playing against Nadal. Maybe Djokovic doesn't have the energy quite like that, or he's not going to recover, as fast as he did back then. But I think his game all around is better. And just like Federer used to say all the time, like, maybe he's not moving the best he ever moved. Maybe he doesn't have as much energy on the court. Maybe he can't go as hard as long as he used to. But, serve, the backhand, his volley, just everything, the whole package is so much better that it's kind of a fair trade. And then what was that one part I missed? Oh, yeah. The conditions, he was talking about how this court plays fast, and it's a lively court. The ball will bounce high. So if you hit a big, heavy, and fast topspin forehand like Alcaraz does, this court takes to it well. Anyways, he was saying, we should have had, relatively quick points on a surface like this, yet we still managed to have all these long rallies and have a 4-hour match. That's how good these guys are. You put them on any surface, and it'll be an absolute battle. I'm super excited for the U.S. Open, and if this doesn't do it for you, I don't know what else will. I guess if Djokovic isn't quite enough for you, we've always got this. Absolutely unbelievable. It's too much. I'm getting overloaded here. If Nadal comes back anytime soon, I don't know if I'll be able to handle it. It's too much excitement. Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis US Open Edition. We're super excited to have you here. Super excited that you're here. And we're super excited for the US Open. I got a great draw here. I think, there was some stuff that I'm not so sure about. Some picks I made that I was uncomfortable with. But I think it's a pretty good draw. And spoiler alert, I got Carlos Alcaraz and Djokovic meeting in the final. I did like what Danny Medvedev said. I don't know, did you see that? Medvedev said, it doesn't bother me that everyone's wanting Djokovic and Alcaraz to be in the final. Everyone's talking about them. Everyone's excited about them. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. They're still talking about me a little bit. Maybe not as much. But that's my job for after the U.S. Open they're going to be talking about me. So I love that. Great attitude for Medvedev. As Pete was pointing out in our last show in Cincinnati, if you take out the other surfaces, Medvedev, if we were all hard court, right? Medvedev is the best player in the world right now until this recent U.S. hard court swing. So we'll see what he can do at the U.S. Open. I'm hoping he can bounce back and make things interesting. In fact, how far did I put him? Well, sadly for the Medvedev fans, I got him going pretty far. And this is one of those picks I was saying, I'm not so sure about this, but something, you guys know I love to make fun of Hubie Hurkacz here. I actually have Hubie Doobie smoking Meds Doobie in the quarterfinals and going on to the semis and then getting smoked by Alcaraz. You know, Hubie is up 3-2 in the head-to-head on Medvedev now with 2 victories in a row. Alcaraz, he's got I got him projected to meet Zverev in the quarters. I thought, Zverev looked pretty good in Cincinnati. I'm thinking Zverev will do well here. And Zverev is still ahead of Alcaraz in the head-to-head 3-2. However, Alcaraz 3-0 on Hubie Doobie. It's so mental. When you look at the score lines and their matches, they get in a tiebreak, and Hubie's just got no chance in a tiebreak against Alcaraz. Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. Speaking of Alcaraz, this was touching. I don't know. Maybe if everyone has seen this, but I'm going to play it anyways. Let's listen to Alcaraz barely holding it together. It's great to see. The match reminded me, of legendary Big Three matches that we've seen over the years. And then also, it reminded me of that Australian Open. When was that one? Where it's killing me. It's killing me. Roger was crying. Remember, he said, it's just killing me about Rafa. And Rafa came over and gave him a hug. Kind of reminded me of that. Joker was very, very kind, had a lot of kind words to say about Alcaraz. But let's just play Alcaraz. I don't want to cry. I've never cried on the show, and I never will. What do we got? Carlos said really nice things about Djokovic. And then, how can you not like Djokovic? I don't have the clip, but Djokovic was actually doing, I think it was just a practice at the U.S. Open. He's already there on Arthur Ashe. And then all of a sudden, he's picking the strings. He starts doing the little Sharapova bounce. And he's doing, you remember, he hasn't done this stuff since 2008 at the U.S. Open was when it ended, I want to say, or 2007. Maybe 2007, when Andy Roddick made fun of him, said, oh, the Joker's got more problems than anybody in the world. He's got the swine flu. He's got the bird flu. He's got the everything, right? And Djokovic was like, you know what? Screw these Americans. I don't know if he really said that. Don't quote me on that. But he's basically said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be the Joker anymore. I'm not going to be Mr. Funny guy. I'm going to be super serious. I'm going to take over this sport. Didn't happen right away, but it did happen eventually, as we all know. And anyways, I thought it was great to see Djokovic doing the impressions again. He even did a Nick Kyrgios one. He didn't do the actual Kyrgios serve motion, but he did the whole, pulling on the sleeves and the whole, the loosey-goosey, I don't care, I don't really even want to be here. I'd rather be watching the Celtics, Nick Kyrgios routine thing. It was pretty good. Anyway, but I don't know, maybe it was such a long time ago, and maybe some people watching this video don't remember that, but Djokovic used to joke around a lot. He was a really fun personality. Despite people saying, oh, his game is boring, he's too robotic. The guy, you can't say he's robotic. And then some people get mad at him because he rips his shirt. I love that he ripped his shirt. He hadn't done that in a long time. But, he's like, F it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be the full Joker. Anyways, I've always thought Joker's a very funny guy. And Joker, you can tell Joker's delirious there. He's like, maybe not like this before. Maybe you're even better than Rafa. Well, don't say that. Anyways, that's enough of that. That's enough highlights from, I don't want to say the greatest match of all time, but certainly it's up there for greatest best of 3 sets. And, it's his second best match of the year. You got to put it behind that Wimbledon final. I think it's better than the French Open meeting they had just because it doesn't end in a retirement. Anyways, this is going to be one hell of a major, I think, folks. Let's go straight into the draw, and then we'll get out of here. Anyways, let's start from the top. There were some hard choices to make, but I think I nailed most of these. Carlos Alcaraz is definitely going to beat Dominik Koepfer. I got Alcaraz, going all the way to the final. I'm going to go with Djokovic. I think Djokovic is still the guy. Even though Alcaraz beat him at Wimbledon, you're not supposed to do it this way, are you? I'm making the finals prediction at the very beginning of the draw. But let's just get that out of the way. I think at Wimbledon, Djokovic definitely felt way more pressure than Alcaraz. It's a different situation here now. It's hard to beat a player that good 2 times in a row, as Alcaraz, we just found out with him. And how is Djokovic going to be able to do it? Also, another thing worth pointing out, no one's won the U.S. Open 2 times in a row since Roger won it 5 times in a row. 2008, couldn't win it again in 2009. Everyone who's won since 2008 has only been able to do it 1 time without doing it the very next year at least. Rafa was 2010, 2013, so obviously people won it more than 1 time, 2017, all kinds of years. Anyways, no one did it back to back. So is Alcaraz going to be able to do that? I don't think so. I think, there's the pressure of defending. Obviously, we know Alcaraz can deal with pressure, so that's not really the problem for him defending here. To me, the problem is Djokovic. I think Djokovic is a man on a mission. Last time he's here, he was so close. Didn't get to come here last year, which surely gives him some motivation. Just thinking about that whole situation, that nightmare. Anyways, Lloyd Harris, I got him coming through over Guido Pella. Botic, the Van der Schulpler from the Das Nederland. No chance. He hasn't been doing very well. Tomo impressed me. I was there at Alcaraz's first match at Cincy when he beat Jordan. Was it Jordan Thompson he beat? I think that's what the match it was I saw. Who's keeping track of these things? I'm pretty sure it was Tomo. Yeah, it was Tomo. Anyways, Tomo looked pretty good that night. So I got Tomo coming through there. But Dirty Dan, he won in Washington, D.C. That was a big surprise there. I got him coming through Tomo. Oh, that was a tough one to pick. And it doesn't really matter because Alcaraz is going to beat Dirty Dan or whoever the heck is in the 3rd round. He's going to beat Lloyd Harris in the 2nd round. We go down below. Talon Griekspoor has been impressive all year to me. Arthur Fils, impressive as well, but I'm going to take Talon Griekspoor here. Kubler, Arnaldi, it's not exactly easy to pick. They're not exactly, household names. But if you look at the records on their surfaces, Matteo Arnaldi is really bad. There's a few players here with really, really bad hardcourt records. So I got Kubler coming through there. Of course, I got Griekspoor taking him down. I got Kakinakis over Luc Galifet. I got Alexander Shevchenko losing to Scam Nori. Let's go, Chuck. See you at the airport. Pack your bags. Chuck will survive that one, but I got Kakinakis taking Chuck down. At least fingers crossed. Kakinakis going down the Griekspoor. Alcaraz taking out Griekspoor. Moving down to the next section there. Zverev over Alexander Vukic. Another Daniel Altmaier. He's had some big wins this year on clay. Really bad hard court record. Got him going down to Constant Lestion. Lestion going down to Zverev, of course. Andy Murray, tough call here. Andy Murray's had some issues with an abdominal tear. You'll remember Rafa had some abdominal issues. I think, was it last year? Well, I think that was going on. They found out when he lost to Taylor Fritz. What a travesty. When he lost to Taylor Fritz, although we like Taylor Fritz now, I forgot. Yeah, we like him so much that we forgot. He had a tear that turned out to be, what was it, like a couple inches or something outrageous. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, we'll see. Andy Murray says he's feeling good enough now. So I put Murray coming through there, but who knows if he's really going to be healthy enough. I got Dimitrov beating over Alex Molcan. I got him beating Andy Murray. I got Zverev taking down Dimitrov just like he did in Cincy. Beat him pretty handily, even though Dimitrov had some sweet highlight shots. Did I say Andy Murray? I meant Grigor Dimitrov. Anyways, I got Zverev beating Dimitrov again in the 3rd round. I got Luc Qualife over another guy, Echeverry. He's seeded here, but he's got a terrible hardcourt record. So I got Luc Qualife. I got Stan over Yoshihito. I got Stan over Luc Qualife. I got Stan going down to center. Another kind of tough one. It shouldn't be, but I just don't trust center. As excited as I was about him for years, I don't fully trust him. You saw what happened in Cincinnati. He was tired. He just won in Canada. He should be popping here. Anyways, I got him going down in round 4 after coming through Stan. I think Zverev is just he's climbing back to where he was before. And ironically, Zverev is 3-1 head-to-head on Jannik Sinner. And Sinner hasn't beat him since that run where Sinner gave Nadal a really tough match in the fall edition, the autumn edition of Roland Garros 2020. Don't forget that one. So anyways, that was the last time Zverev Last time Sinner beat Zverev. And to me, yes, he just won Canada, but still, I haven't had the most convincing year from Sinner. And I think Zverev is getting back to where he was when the last time he beat Alcaraz, when it looked like he might beat Nadal too. And that was last year's Roland Garros. And Zverev went down. So Zverev, let's move ahead before we go to the section below. I got Zverev losing to Alcaraz, but he does lead in the head-to-head 3-2. And the last time that he beat Alcaraz was Roland Garros 2022. Then he, of course, has that injury. I think Zverev is getting closer to where he was back then when it looked like he had a real shot to beat Nadal. Anyways, don't forget that the most recent meeting with Alcaraz and Zverev was in Madrid this year, 6-1, 6-2, destroyed him. Anyways, let's move down to the quarter below, Medvedev's quarter. Medvedev, again, coming through the first round. And then this Max Purcell guy, this guy was really good in Cincinnati. He was playing the old school Aussie style serve and volley. It's always interesting to see a guy who can play like that against Medvedev. Medvedev, staying way back on the return. Of course, I got Medvedev coming through, but I put a star on that match because I think that could be an interesting match worth watching. Nishikori. Is he really healthy? Is he not? We've been asking this for like 7 years now. I got him coming through because I hope he comes through. I hope for the guy. I got Coric coming through Sebastian Baez and beating Kei Nishikori if he is really there. Of course, Medvedev will take him down. I got Nicolas Jarry, who, where was it? Was it Wimbledon? He had some impressive matches. But I got Lucas van Arslau taking him out. The Belgian guy who speaks Dutch and French and maybe German too. We got him coming through there. Ramos Vinolas. I starred this match, this Alex Mickelson guy. He's like a 19-year-old American player. Had some big wins on the hard courts, this American hard court swing. I got Ramos Vinolas taking him out, but that could be a good match and interesting to see a young U.S. player who's pretty good. Most people probably haven't heard of him. Check him out. That's a starred match. Wu Yibing, I got him going down to Dusan Lajovic. I got the Demon coming through there. Demon coming through. Lucas von Aschat, I got him beating Ramos Vinolas. Got the Demon taking out the asshat. I got Karen Khachanov. Who knows where he is also. He's had some issues. We got Khachanov taking down Michael Moe. I got John Isner at least getting one win. I got him doing 2 wins because I don't know where Khachanov really is health-wise. So I got Isner making a couple wins in his last run. By the way, Isner is retiring after this US Open. This will be his last rodeo. Same for Jack Sock. So sad for American tennis. I don't know how many people will say John Isner is his favorite player, their favorite player ever. But, John Isner, for having a bad rap, saying, it's boring to watch him, he's a serve bot. It was always kind of a spectacle, interesting to see him. We saw it happen to Riley Opelka. He got too interested in fashion and doesn't really care about tennis anymore. So at least John Isner stayed committed to the cause. And he produced some matches. He was able to beat, all big three. Rafa, he beat him in Laver Cup. Don't know if that counts as much. But I remember him beating Djokovic at Indian Wells, Cincinnati as well. Beat Roger at Indian Wells also. That ball is a lively place for the ball. The ball bounces really high, so you have that big serve. It was a good weapon at Indian Wells, served them well. Anyways, I hope he wins a couple rounds. The Atlanta tournament we have here, John Isner won it more than anybody in history, so he's kind of a hometown hero here for us. I got Jack Draper taking out Radu Albot. Not that Draper has been amazing lately, but Albot hasn't really been doing much for a little bit, so I got Draper coming through there. Of course, Hubie over Huesler, Hubie over Draper, Hubie over Isner, Hubie over... This is where it gets tricky. So this part, I'm really not sure how to pick this. First, I got a big star on the bottom here. Well, let's just finish it up before we get there. Ugo Humbert over Berrettini. Poor Berrettini. Diego Schwartzman over Arthur Rinder-Kaneshi. He hasn't been doing anything. The Schwartzman hasn't had a good year, but I'll give him the advantage there. Monfils, I got him winning. Now, I don't know about this one. Ruud beat Rublev in Cincinnati. I saw that match. It was an awesome match. Finished with a tiebreaker. I think it might have been all tiebreakers or a 7-5 in there. That was one of the best matches of the Cincinnati tournament. And I got Rublev winning because it's so hard to beat a good player twice, but I'm really not sure about that. And I've really liked Ruud for a couple years now. I think he's a really good player. Anyways, I got Rublev coming through there, but that's a big question mark for me. I got him over Monfils, and then I got Humbert going down to Rublev. I'm really unsure about putting Rublev in the 4th round, but he's going to snap out of this slump eventually. He's so good on hard courts. You would think he could do it here. I'm hoping he gets inspired. I like Rublev. I want to see him do well. But if he is able to do that, which I'm not entirely confident in, Hubi's definitely taking him out. I got Hubi over Meds. Zverev going down to Alcaraz. Alcaraz taking out Hubi, no problem. No matter how close Hubi will get to winning, I think there's a mental block against Alcaraz. He doesn't believe, and I don't believe if he doesn't believe. All right, the other half of the draw, Casper Ruud. Not a great hard court season. Not a great year overall. It's at least for him. I think he would have expected more out of himself this year. So Casper Ruud boy, I got him going to round 4, but going down to TFO. I never pick TFO to go very far anywhere, but I got him this time. Anyways, I think Marty Fucsovics also could be a tough roadblock for Casper Ruud. I got him winning, but I put a big question mark there. And then I thought this was interesting. I don't think they've played other than once in a challenger in 2017. I know Ruud was very young then, but Marty Fucsovics beat, and there were similar rankings at the time. Marty F from Hungary. It was in Hungary too, so it was a home court advantage. He beat him 6-0, 6-0. So I thought that was kind of interesting in the head-to-head there. Anyways, I got the Wolfmeister coming through Zhang Jijin and Rinky Dinky Hijikata. I got him over Pavel Kotov, another one of these guys with a really bad hard court record. So I got the wild. Rarely will I take the wild card, but I'm taking the wild card here over this guy who doesn't win much on hard courts at all. I know people think Sebastian Korda is due for some good results soon, but I got Fucsovics taking him down. Manarino I got coming through. Gasquet. I got Nuno Borges over Sebastian Ofner. And TFO, of course. Thomas Paul. We'll take Roman Saflin over Marco Cecchinato. Ivashka over Juan Manuel Cerundolo, not Francisco Cerundolo, the brother. We'll take ADF, the Anna Delvey Foundation, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina over Marcus Giron. We got Bublik over Dominic Thiem. Obviously, put a star in that one. That's a match worth watching. And we'll take Ben Blake Shelton over Pedro Cachin. Leheshka over Karatsev. Star on that match. Karatsev, not a great year for him, but he always can play tough matches. He has played some good matches this year against good players. I got Leheshka coming through, but I'm not very sure about that one. And Holger Rune, who says he's disrespected, which I think he kind of has a point. They put him on court number 5 or something like that. They put him on a smaller court, even though he is the 4 seed here. Anyways, I got Holger Rune over Leheshka. I got Bublik actually going down to Shelton. But, that's a tough one there. But I like Shelton. He's on the right trajectory, so I'll take him. Holger Rune beats Shelton, if healthy, too. Don't forget that. Holger Rune had a back issue. He's young. He'll probably be okay. I got Thomas Paul coming through that section just because I don't know 100% for sure if Rune is healthy. And Thomas Paul, obviously, it looks very good, taking down Carlos Alcaraz in Canada and giving him a very tough match in Cincinnati. It looked like he might have been able to pull it off back-to-back. I got TFO over Manarino. Fucsovics could take down Ruud, so that's a star match there to watch. But I got Ruud. I got Thomas Paul taking out TFO. I don't trust the guy to go all the way here. Thomas Paul in the semifinals. Who do you think he's going to be playing in the semifinals? Of course, it's Nole. I hope that's the match that I will see. I will be at the U.S. Open this year with a semifinal day session. I will be there. So hopefully I see Nole and Thomas Paul, because I didn't get to see Djokovic in Cincinnati. I saw Alcaraz twice. Didn't get to see Djokovic, so I hope I see him in New York. Anyways, Tsitsipas, Milos Raonic, start on that. He could go down. And remember, he lost to Eubanks at Wimbledon. Might have to play him again, so that would be interesting. We got Popyrin. So, Tsitsipas in the past talked about not enjoying playing really big servers. He's got 3 big servers in a row potentially here. Let's see. Tsitsipas, I'll take him over Milos. I'll take him over Popyrin. Could it be Eubanks? What has to happen for Eubanks to get in there? He's got to beat Sun Woo Kwon. I think he can do that. He's got to be Quentin Halys from France. I think he can do that. I'm going to give Steph, just because I think Steph's better on hard courts than grass. So I'll say Steph gets revenge and takes out Eubanks, goes to the 4th round, and beats Taylor Fritz in the 4th. Hit the music. We're going to get out of here. A lot of qualifies. I picked the qualify over Gregoire Kecmanovic. I got him. I got Fritz over Stevie Johnson. I got Fritz beating Musetti. And I got Fritz going down to Tsitsipas in the quarterfinals. I think Fritz could win that match, though. Start it. It should be a good match. Felix Auger, not impressive this year, but I got him over Mackie McDonald. Hugo Dellien, I think qualifier is taking this one down. Hugo Dellien, let's point this out. He very recently lost to Bernard Tomic. That guy's still around. Anyways, so I got Felix coming through there. I got Fran Cerundolo coming through some qualifies to play Felix. I got Fran taking down Felix. Nakashima beating Laszlo Jetta. Zapatas, 2 qualifies in there. We'll take a qualify over a qualify. Alexander Muller is the first match tomorrow night. We will be back to talk about that. Of course, I think Djokovic is going to win that. I got Djokovic over Zapatas, Djokovic over Nakashima, Djokovic over Fran Cerundolo, Djoko over Steph. Then he's going to go full Nole mode, and he's going to take down Thomas Paul into the final. He beats Alcaraz. I think he's still the greatest. He's still the guy to beat. But do comment below. I would love to hear what you think. Also, should we get excited about that clip I played earlier of Rafa Nadal jogging on a treadmill? Is this for real? Is Rafa going to come back? Is he going to be able to do it again? I sure hope. But in the meantime, I think this is Joker on a mission. Alcaraz, he said, I'm learning so much from you. It was weird in that trophy ceremony. It was like he's like a father figure to him in some ways. He's a father figure rivalry. I don't think we've ever had anything like this before. It's quite amazing. So, of course, I'm fingers crossed with all the tennis fans that Medvedev doesn't make us talk about him and that we get the rematch. And then we're going to have someone leading in the head-to-head again, right? They're tied up 2-2. This is going to be good. I can't remember being this excited for a U.S. Open in a while. You know, there was some where maybe we thought Roger and Rafa could meet, but then, you know, one of them's always banged up and all those issues going on. You know, when we saw Djokovic beating Juan Martín Del Potro, that was pretty exciting, but Del Potro wasn't at his best, all the injuries. Djokovic, you know, at this age, can you say he's at his best? I do. I think that his game is the most well-rounded it's ever been. Alcaraz is getting better all the time. And I just hope this rivalry lasts for a while. I think we're going to get another couple good years out of Djokovic at least. So hopefully this rivalry goes for a long time because I don't see anybody else stepping up anytime soon. We'll be back. See you.